Hello, this is chapter or lesson 13, applying appearance attributes and graphic styles in the 2013 Classroom in a Book series. We are on page 366, and this lesson is going to have some different parts to it. We've posted about it on Canvas, but we'll go through it step by step. This is probably you have two more major lessons and then one softer one for the book. So you have 2 more weeks. This week's kind of an easier one because it's Thanksgiving, and this one shouldn't take too long. So we have opened up our end file and what we are expecting to have, and now we have our start file. So in our start file, we are just going to rename this to web design. Okay, so we saved it. Obviously, I saved it as demo because I'm doing for the video. You always want to save it a copy because let's say you have to start off from the beginning and this way you don't have to go down and re-download the file again. It's already there. You just have an additional copy. If you haven't heard, I'm a big fan of saving everything all the time. So keep as many copies as you can. So this is going to be kind of like an extension on the lesson before, plus some other stuff that you will most likely not use for a very long time. So we're going to open the appearance panel. First, let's go to default. Let's reset our essentials. Start everything back over. Mine's been restarted. And we're going to go to our appearance panel, and mine looks like a little sun. This is your appearance panel, and we're going to use that a lot. It's appearance attributes, so it's taking a part of a layer and making it more unique, an extra part to it. So with it open, we're going to take our selection tool, keyboard shortcut V, and we're just going to click on this green shape. It's going to have a yellow outline. And you can notice our appearance panel looks like this now. So this part is our selected object or thumbnail, and this is kind of the name of it. It's a path. B is the attribute row. And this is also an attribute row as well. Your eyeball is your visibility. D, when it's orange and it has a line underneath that you link to more options. We've kind of some of these things look familiar because we can link to options there, and we know the visibility guy. So where it's different is down to E, we can add a new stroke. In addition to the one we already have set up, we can add a new fill, a new effect or FX. G, we can add a new effect. That's what I said. H is clear appearance, so if we don't like it, we can clear it without deleting. I is duplicate selected item, or create a new one. J is delete, and then if it has a little FX, that means it indicates an effect from here has been applied, and there's also the drop-down menu if you need to pull that up. So we're on the page 369, and we're going to start editing appearance attributes. So with the green rectangle still selected, we're going to take this fill and take it from that green to black. So I'm going to click on this, take it to black, and hit escape. Notice that it did not do a complete black because it has some opacity. So we'll deal with that in a second. So there's a stroke above it, and it's listed at 2 points outside. I'm going to click on the number and take it down to 1 point. And then we're going to edit the stroke by clicking on the orange, the line underneath. And we've dealt with the stroke panel before, so this is not new to us. Remember, we can play on caps, we can turn the corners, and alignment of strokes, and which is what we're doing here. And the book talks a little bit more about alignment of strokes on page 370. But we're going to align the stroke to inside. And if I hover over, it'll let me know, and that's the one in the center. And I'm just going to click outside. So the next is we're going to toggle this triangle to open up. And the opacity is at 50. That's why this black is kind of grayish. We're going to click on the word opacity. Remember, there's the blending modes, isolate blending, knockout, whatever. We're going to take the opacity from 50 to 100. So it's going to be very opaque. And in the appearance panel, we're going to click on the eye icon for drop shadow to make it visible to apply this effect to everything. So we have a little drop shadow. You can kind of see it. It's very subtle. And you can play around with the eyeball to see if you can notice its subtlety. So on page 371, we're going to add another stroke. So we're going to take the zoom, the magnifier from our marquee, and we're just going to draw a box around Welcome to Venice. And it's that text on our bottom, right there. So we're going to go to my selection tool, keyboard shortcut B, and we're going to click the large white rounded rectangle with the gray stroke behind the text. So we're going to click on this, and you'll notice the line around it is red, if it is like mine. So you notice our appearance panel has adjusted too, so it's no longer that black rectangle, now it's the kind of grayish with strokes. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a new stroke. Remember, that's the bottom of our panel here. I'm going to click on that. So we have the word stroke twice. The new one's added to the top of the stack. So we are going to leave the stroke weight at 6. We're going to change the color. Right now it is a gray. I'm going to change that to white. And notice how it changed everything because that stroke is on top of the other one and they're treated the same. They're in the same size, the same orientation of alignment as well. So the next we're going to do is we're going to click on the word stroke to open up this panel on the top one, the new one. And we're going to align the stroke to outside. Right now it's aligned to center. We already did a line to inside. We're going to do a line to outside. Hit escape to close that. And it's very subtle, but there is a stroke and then another stroke right there. So at this point, we're going to do a Command S to save. So next we're going to add another fill. So we're going to zoom out, Command negative or Control negative. And with the selection tool, we're going to click the pattern filled shape behind that rounded rectangle. And you notice we have changed our path. We have one stroke, we have a fill. So we're going to click the fill attribute row to select it. And remember, it's kind of highlighted in kind of that bluish color. And if you select an attribute row before adding a new stroke or fill, the new fill or stroke will not be above it. So we are going to, will be actually added directly above it. So if there was 3, it's the one in the middle will go right above it. We're going to click add a new fill, which is right next to add a new stroke. And with this new fill, we're going to change the color to the orange-yellow gradient fill, right there. Remember, this one is to a pattern under background underneath. So you have background and you have sort of this orange fill. And the orange is kind of filling everything right there. So the next thing is we're going to change the gradient because right now it's light left to right. And for a website, we want it to be up and down. So we're going to click the gradient icon. We've done this before, like 3 lessons ago. And we're going to change type from linear, if it isn't already selected. And we're changing the angle to 90. Remember the angle, there's 0, so it goes left to right. We're going to order the angle where it starts to 90. And that should change the orientation. So I'm going to go back to, I accidentally changed the other fill. So I want to make sure I'm selected on the correct fill layer. Go back to my gradient. Make sure it is selected. And it keeps changing the one underneath. So I'm going to hide it. There you go. So it took some work, but I got it, and I hope you were able to see how I was able to fix it. It worked fine in class last night, but sometimes you're selected on the wrong layer, the wrong attribute, especially when things are kind of layered on top of each other. It can get difficult. So the next we're going to do is reorder the appearance attributes. So what we're going to do is click this triangle so the fill is kind of underneath right there. And we're just going to drag this orange fill underneath the white pattern, like so. Shows background, background gradient. And it should have a texture to it. But it isn't showing, which is odd. It's very odd. So what I'm going to do is create a new fill right there and delete this one, like so. And you can always go back. So I believe I missed a step somehow. So I'm just going to look at what I have going on. And you know what? What I'm going to do is actually open up the start file. Because that shouldn't be as opaque as it is. Now look. background. Opacity, normal. We're just going to test it here. Does it very bright. And I think the opacity on this needs to be dropped down a bit. So I'm going to exit out of this and don't save. Look at the end file. Yeah, so this is actually supposed to be not as vibrant. And that's what I'm concerned about. And it's a little troublesome. Because it's not going to be, it shouldn't be as vibrant as the one beneath it. You know what? I'm going to pause for now. Hopefully yours is not as white as that, and it's kind of more of a diluted color like it is here. And this did not do this last night, so I'm a little concerned by it. So I'm just going to kind of power through. And I think that is going to be it for part 1, and I'll see you for part 2.